It's one of, if not the biggest race on the running calendar, especially up here in the northeast of England. Loads of people want to do it, and it's none other than the Blaydon Races. See, for me, the Blaydon Races was a race where I didn't really hear a lot of when I first started doing running. It wasn't until after the Great North Run where my uncle asked if I was going to do it for 2015. I wasn't sold on it, if I'm honest with you, but I had a go, I got in and I ran it, and it had me hooked since then. Doing it for 4 years in a row means a lot. Not just in terms of consistency, it's the fact that I get to participate in the best running event out there. It's my favourite, without a shadow of a doubt, with the Great North Run closely followed behind it. And to me, personally, it's one of those races where you have to experience it for yourself to know what I'm talking about. So put it up there on your running wish list or your running bucket list. Come and experience it, because I think you'll fall in love with it. I have, and I haven't looked back since. In terms of how my Blaydon race went, it wasn't great. I knew going into this that with the knee injury there was a lack of training, there was a lack of S&C, a lack of fitness overall, so I knew it was going to be a struggle. But mainly what hurt me the most wasn't fitness, because I managed to get round in one piece. It was the heat. I got to Grey Street for around 1:30, 1:15. I collected a bit of B-roll for my JNR, which is great to officially start filming for. I met Ian, quickly caught up with him, he got to his pen, then I met up with Andy, Peter and Neil. I would have met them sooner, but I got too caught up with filming B-roll, so sorry lads, I didn't mean to hold yous up. Neil went to his pen, I hung around with Andy and Peter. They kept me quite calm by chatting to us, because I tend to get nervous before a race. I think anyone else does, but at the same time I was drinking in the atmosphere for Blaydon, which as always was electric. They were playing a lot of Northeast related songs, which, you know, it done the trick for me, got us a bit hyped. The race did get delayed by about 25 minutes, 30 minutes, but that can't be helped. Apparently a bus had broken down. I'm not entirely sure if that's true. They had to wait for the road to be entirely clear before we were allowed to set off or set the racers off. It didn't really bother me. I was actually quite calm. The Fitbit said I was at 53 beats per minute when we were waiting. I think I had about 30 seconds worth of a flutter of like, come on, I just want to get going, and then I kind of just let it go. When we did get let go, the start is always quite bottlenecked and quite congested, so you have to either be at the front and away or just play it by ear and just adapt and overcome. I did get frustrated with how inconsiderate people were when we got to a certain point. I think it was outside Revolution Bar. Again, it was bottlenecked because of roadworks, can't be helped. We had to stop and walk just to allow traffic to go through, but people were mounting the pavement, which that happens in races, but the fact that there was an elderly gentleman on a 3 wheels in my frame kind of apparatus, I wasn't sure how to call it, but he looked stressed and people were just running by, and thankfully, and I'm hoping that he didn't get knocked over. I just thought that wasn't cool. I yelled across, like, bit of respect here, lads. I just thought it was inconsiderate. I just didn't appreciate people just barging past like that. The first mile opened up at 9 minutes, which was expected because the first mile is, as I mentioned, quite congested. You have to find your way a little bit. But then we got to mile 2 and we knocked a full minute off that. We were flying, and we agreed that if we kept up that pace, we'd flag, and eventually we did. The Scotswood Road was absolutely baking hot. It was as if we got onto the road and the temperature had just like went up by about 50 degrees. It was horrific. I struggle in the heat, like the hot heat. Normally if it's like a mild heat, I'm alright, but this was like sticky, it was dry, and it was just, I was sweating within like minutes, and I was just losing so much liquid. It was horrific. I knew that the drink station would be chaos because of that, and when we got past Scotswood Road over the Blaydon Bridge, I knew I'd have to either decide, should I go for water or should I not? I decided on the latter. I didn't go for water because of how busy the table was, which was fair enough because people wanting to keep cool, wanting to hydrate. I thought there'd be water at the end of the race, just hang on for another mile and a half and you'd be fine. It did cool a little bit, but it was still sticky, but then it got towards like mile 4 was fine, but mile 5 was when I really started to just wish the race was over. I was starting to hate the race, which was not normally like me, but I just wanted to be over and done with because I was just suffering. Then we heard ambulances being scrambled behind us. We all broke left, and just as we were about to come towards the latter end of the race, there was 2 people who had collapsed. Thankfully they're okay. Blaydon Race confirmed they were fine. Their beards were on ice until they collected them, which is good news. They're fine, brilliant news, they're fine. But it really knocked us. And then what also frustrated me was after the race, when I went on social media, people were complaining that they were forced to walk or they were bottlenecked because of where the first aid vans and paramedics were, which I thought was, mate, if you're whinging about that, you need to like just get in the bin. They're doing their job, they're saving lives, and you're complaining because it's slowing you down. You know what I mean? Anyways, when we got to the end, me and Peter and Andy, we all broke into a bit of a sprint. We just wanted to get the race over and done with, and we crossed the line in around 49 minutes. I was ready to just hit the deck because I was tired, mentally drained, and just baked from the sun. I got a water down me as quickly and safely as possible. I didn't down it, I just sipped. Had my ham and peas pudding sandwich. Didn't have my crisps, but I definitely had my beer. Personally, it wasn't my favourite race. It's not the organisers' fault. It was because of the heat. The heat ruined it for me a little bit. I will be back next year. Hopefully I'll be fit. And I'm excited. I've been struggling in terms of mojo. I've not really mentioned it. I've struggled a little bit in terms of mojo. The Blaydon race, it kind of woke in the beast a little bit to really knuckle down. And the fact that my knee was okay, you'll see the tape job here. That's what my knee was looking like before the race. And thank God for Stephen for seeing us, getting a massage, quickly looking at my knee and then getting it taped up as well. So I'm really thankful for Stephen for doing that. But yeah, overall, I hated from Scotland Road to the finish line. Before that, it was cracking, but just the heat, I just wanted the race over and done with. But I will be back next year, as I mentioned. Right, that's my quick review. Well, I'll say quick. That's my recap of my Blaydon race. If you watched the series, what do you think? What do you think of this overall? Let us know in the comment section below. If you're new around here, or if you're finding me for the first time, go on, subscribe. I've got more content coming out weekly. Thankfully, not like I used to a year ago when I'd say I'd do it weekly and maybe once every 6 months. No, there is weekly content coming up. And also watch out for the podcast, as I've mentioned, weekly. So there's more videos coming out. Friday, podcast is dropping, 6 o'clock. It's with Colin the Big Pink Dress. Look out for it, all right? Cheers, guys.